Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well. And great day just for our program. Started off with the pro day, great opportunity. Tons of pro personnel in here. Opportunity for our guys that have finished their careers to go out and perform in front of them and put their best foot forward. Thought our players did a great job during the course of the morning, representing themselves in the program, and enjoyed the opportunity for to talk about them, about their careers and who they are with the personnel that was here. Great representation from almost every team, and then this afternoon, really exciting day for us. Guys have been working really hard in our first quarter of our off-season program, strength and conditioning, and then them having an opportunity to go out day one and practice, man, and compete, make a bunch of mistakes, get a whole lot better during the course of it as well. And just saw a tremendous amount of energy and effort from those guys. Took coaching extremely well, really positive with each other. A lot of things that we've been working off as far as our accountability and just the way we communicate and interact with each other, players and coaches alike. Saw a lot of those things in a positive way today during the course of practice, and excited as we continue to go through spring here. So with that, I'll open it up to some questions.
Questions, and if you state your name and affiliation for Coach so he can get familiar with you. We'll start with Vince Ferrara.
Hey, Coach. Vince Ferrara, 99.1, this sports animal here in Knoxville. I know it's just day one of official practice, but and rosters aren't always the best indicators, but have there been any guys that you've switched positions or cross-training or even maybe considering, shifting over to another spot here early on in spring?
Not right now. Yeah, our roster for the most part has stayed status quo as far as their homes and where they're starting out at. I think as we go through the early part of spring ball here, you're going to find out a lot more about who they are as a player, their skill sets, how they fit into what we're doing, how they've grown in the off season, taking coaching and are implementing the things that we're asking them to. And as we go through that process, then you'll find ways to move guys into a spot where they got a better opportunity to compete and earn an opportunity to play inside of our program.
Patrick Brown, then Wes Rucker.
Hey, Josh, Patrick Brown with 24/7 Sports. I know it's one day, you're not making any sweeping generalizations about your quarterback position, but what have been your impression of those guys, not only today, but even going back and watching them and interacting with them? And how do you as a staff go about getting all those guys enough reps to really feel like they get an equal shot?
I think for everybody inside of our program, it's part of it is what you do, right? And we pushed back the start of spring ball a little bit to make sure that they got some of our installs, got a little bit of comfort with our terminology, our verbiage, and how you need to communicate in all three phases to give yourself an opportunity to learn how to play the way that we need to play with great effort and technique and play, from snap to the echo of the whistle. That was a big emphasis today. And just, we use the code word attack. That's a big part of who we are inside of our building. I thought our guys did that. At the quarterback position in particular, I thought they handled the tempo portion of some of our team sets extremely well, handled the communication piece of it, played within themselves. They made some mistakes out there too, but they did a lot of really positive things too. And the thing that we've challenged our guys is don't make the same mistake twice. Be coachable, accept the coaching in a positive way, learn from it, grow from it, change from one rep to the next. And as we called the team up today, that was just one of the points of emphasis that I made to them, that I saw guys being really accepting of coaching, challenging themselves to get better from one rep to the next in a really positive way. I thought there was a ton of positive energy out there between players and coaches.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, Wes Rucker with 24/7 Sports. I know that sometimes the logistics of spring ball can be challenging because of numbers in certain areas, where you got guys who maybe have graduated or gone to the portal or whatever they've done. Are there any spots out there where, from a numbers perspective, you're not able to kind of do what you'd want to do yet?
Yeah, the logistics of spring ball forced us to miss you guys out there for a little bit today. You guys didn't get any footage. We're looking forward to that. I think just the logistics of spring ball and where guys are at as far as their health. Guys are maybe coming off of injuries from the previous season, having surgeries. As you continue to go, you get more and more guys healthy, hopefully. That's a big part of your off-season program, getting themselves in a position where they're able to go and compete for, a 2 hour and 15 minute, 2.5 hour practice. And be in enough shape that they're learning how to play the actual game and not just trying to survive practice. And I thought for the most part, our guys were handled the practice extremely well today.
Brent Hubbs, then Blake Topmeyer.
Yeah, Coach, Brent Hubbs with VolQuest.com. I know this is a marathon, not a sprint, and with so many things to get done, how do you prioritize, week 1 to week 2, first couple of practices in terms of what you're trying to get accomplished without overwhelming everybody with, a to-do list that's too long? And then secondly, what were your impressions of your defensive staff on the practice field today?
I think, as an overall program, you're in a race to become as good as you can, as fast as you can. And that's the challenge for your players every single day. So you got to enter the building with great urgency, put pressure on yourself to soak in as much as possible, go out there, play and execute. At the same time, you're trying to balance that where your kids aren't overwhelmed and they have no opportunity to soak in the information that they need to go out there and compete. And you can't find out who they are as a player. And so in all 3 phases, you're balancing, your installs. You got to understand that it's year 1. Your system may be this, but it's year 1, practice 1 for your guys. And so you spoon feed them. You give them an opportunity to soak in what you've done. That's a part of why we backed up spring ball to make sure that they had an opportunity to get some of that information beforehand, get some of your playbook digested. You push it as far as you and as fast as you possibly can before you get to spring ball. You come back. And now you're back to a day 1 install. As your players came back to day 1, man, I think they grabbed on to a whole lot more than you probably even thought that they would as you get ready for practice 1. And I thought we handled that in a pretty good way. I think defensively, we got great chemistry as far as our defensive staff. A bunch of guys that believe in what we're doing. Who's leading that room? Great confidence in Coach Banks, from myself, but from everybody inside of the defensive staff room. Some of those guys have worked together. I think that chemistry is important. There's a great level of trust between those guys, and our players on the defensive side of the football can feel and sense that as well. They're playing with great energy. I thought they did a really good job communicating all 3 levels today. A point of emphasis for us, eliminate bus and be able to line up, play assignment sound, and play with great technique.
Hey, Josh, Blake Topmeyer with the Knoxville News Sentinel. Did Caden Salter practice today?
Caden is not on the practice field today.
Why is he not practicing?
Caden's part of the group of individuals that are suspended from team activities at this point.
Is there any timeline for those guys to return to practice?
There isn't. That's being handled on campus, and as we receive information, we'll act accordingly. There's high expectations, high standards to represent Tennessee football, and at the same time, we're going to stay true to those kids and support them as they go through this process. And as we gain information, we'll be able to share that.
Thanks.
Austin Price, then David Ubben.
Hey, Coach, Austin Price, VolQuest.com. Most of the offseason since you've been here has been about kind of building the kids up and positive talk. How do you continue that once you go to the practice field while turning up the intensity and focus towards, becoming better between the white lines?
I think every day is about competition inside of this building. We want to recruit great competitors that are passionate about the game of football. We're going to push them to go be their best every single day, but you can do that in a positive way. And I think our staff is built and wired that way. Our players have understood the consistency in our communication and our standards and how we're going to make sure that we're making them toe the line in that. I think they've appreciated that. They wanted it. There's high expectations inside of our locker room. We have a lot of really good football players here that are very prideful and in all reality, not excited about what happened a year ago and believe that we can be a whole lot better. And that's what we're building to and working towards every single day. Our coaches aren't going to change who they are based on whether we're on the field or not in the field. We have high standards. We're going to make sure that our players are meeting those standards. We're going to be positive and consistent in the way that we communicate with them. And if you do that, your players gain a great trust level in you, not just a respect factor, but a trust level in you that they know exactly who and what you're going to be every day. And if they do that, they're able to go cut it loose and go compete at a really high level. The thing that I love about this group is that there's some leadership that's starting to take place where they're starting to hold the guy to the left and the right accountable to. And great teams, championship teams, it's always built from within the locker room. That standard's got to be held from the players all day long in everything that they do. And this group's starting to grow in that way.
Josh, David Oven with The Athletic. When you look at this team, not necessarily based on just today's practice, but your assessment just wholly in general, what do you see as some of the deficiencies and strengths of this team right now?
I think we got this is day one, year one of spring ball for us. We got a long ways to grow. You got to develop the talent that you have inside of your roster. You got to develop depth. You got to develop or go recruit players and create some of that depth as well. We got a long ways to go, but I do like this group because they're prideful, they care, they're coachable, they're going to work extremely hard when they step between the white lines. They've done that in the off-season program. They did that today. If we continue to build on that every day, then we're going to give ourselves a chance.
What kinds of things did you see from them today that told you these guys care?
I think just, some of the things that I already talked about. One, energy extremely high. Day one of spring ball, easy to do that. Day two gets a little bit tougher. Who are we as we come back, a couple of days from now? That will be telling too. The energy and effort, the way that they played when we were in our team sets, but the way that they approached their individual periods, the way that they took coaching, changed something from one rep to another rep, tells me that there's a high care factor. The ability to see some of your leaders start coaching guys in their position group is a really positive thing, and they did it in a positive way. Those things tell you that this group's got a chance.
Ben McKee, then Rick Russo.
Ben McKee of Rocky Top Insider and the Swain event. Josh, you talked about pushing spring back so that the quarterbacks and the team in general can have a better grasp of the playbook. And it seems like you liked how they handled practice today. Do you think that's a result of being right where you want them to be in terms of grasping the playbook as spring is beginning?
Yeah, right where you want them to be might not be the right way to phrase it. I think as a coach, you always want to be further ahead than where you're at. You're never accepting of where you're at. You're always pushing forward. But I do. We got guys that they've been great inside the meeting room. A bunch of guys that are learning how to put in extra time and effort, meet with coaches on top of what's required. Players meeting together, watching film together. Those are the things. Everybody. There's an NCAA requirement or max number of hours that you get with them, man. Great players, great teams. They're going to go above and beyond that all the time, and our guys are learning how to have really good work habits.
Hey, Josh, Rick Russo, WVLT Sports. There's no question it's been a whirlwind time for you and your staff coming on board. What was the feeling like for you being out there today as Tennessee's football coach?
Just excitement, man. From the time we got a chance to meet with them this morning to the time, you see some of your guys that are finishing their career here, you have an opportunity to work out at Pro Day, but then the opportunity to step on the grass and the turf, I guess, in the indoor, but have an opportunity to go put everything together and go compete. 120 guys and coaching staff and all the support staff. There's so much time and energy and work that leads up to those moments where you get an opportunity to truly go out and compete the way that you want to as a full team. Just excitement, man. And I got a note full of things that we got to correct as players and coaches and support staff for the next practice. But I love the energy and effort. And if you get those things from your players, great energy, great attitude, and you become a tough football team, then it's a lot of fun to coach that type of group.
Gustavo, then David Pascal.
Gustavo Tomazelli, WHK 90.3 The Rock. First of all, Coach, it's a pleasure speaking with you for the first time. Orange and White game less than a month away. And what are your expectations to be for the first time at Neyland Stadium? See the fans, be on the field, and what do you expect for your players? Having those 15 practice and then having the Orange and White game.
I think great excitement, anticipation. Anytime you get an opportunity to go compete inside of Neyland Stadium, it's an unbelievable venue. Having played here as a competitor, excited to be able to showcase who and what we are as a program as we build this football foundation. here and be able to showcase it to the fans here inside the state of Tennessee at the same time. And that's so far down the road. I'm worried about getting the meetings here tomorrow morning with our guys, getting one day better and getting back out on the grass for practice too.
Hey, Josh, David Pascal down here in Chattanooga. I know you addressed the situation with Toa and Crouch yesterday. I was just kind of curious how you balance a couple of players that have played at Tennessee and are good players and improving players with also kind of the buy-in aspect. You talk about the buy-in and right now they're not with you. How do you just kind of balance all that?
And I think your program is always about who's inside of your building, who's inside of your locker room. It's never about who's not here. I don't care if it's recruiting or guys that end up leaving your program. It's about the guys that are here. We got a group of individuals that wanted accountability, wanted connection, want to become a football team. We're on a long journey. This is a journey, right? Of where we want to go. We're on that long journey right now. Our guys are competing and trying extremely hard to meet the expectations. They love one another. We're starting to be connected as a football team. That gives us a chance to move forward. We welcome anybody back that wants to be a part of that. At the same time, it's about the guys that are inside the room always and forever.
Trey Wallace, then Eric Kane.
Hey, Coach, Trey Wallace, Rocky Top Insider. When you got the offense going out there, and I know it's the first day of spring practice, but was there any kind of surprise on the offensive side of the ball with how fast things are and how fast you guys want to move the ball up and down the field, and especially getting into the next play? What was that like for the players?
Yeah, we balance our practice and make sure that we try to balance it, offense and defensive emphasis, and periods where we can get assignment and alignment sound and communicate in a really good way and chase the football as well. I thought when we got into our tempo periods, our skilled players for the most part operated in a pretty efficient way. We can be a whole lot better in 1,000 different ways at every position right now too. But overall, I think for day one, they had a fairly good grasp and understanding of how we want to operate. So there was some positives in that way.
Do you like the challenge from the players? Did you like how they're taking it on when it comes to learning a fast-paced offense like this compared to what they've had in the past?
Absolutely. The energy, excitement, the want to, with what we're doing offensively, the buy-in has been fantastic. Guys want to learn how to play the way that we're going to play. They want to be efficient. It's a prideful group of kids, and that's on the offense side of the ball and in everywhere inside of our locker room. The expectations and standards here are extremely high, and that's from within our building. And they obviously understand that the expectations from our fan base are extremely high too. That's also why they chose to come to Tennessee. It's why I chose to come to Tennessee. This is one of the great traditions in all of college football. It's our job to work in a great way every single day to go chase greatness, and our kids are doing that. Our staff's doing that. Got a long road to haul right now, but we're going to get there.
Hey, Josh, Eric Kane, the sports animal here in Knoxville. As far as the offensive linemen, I know it's day one. I know it's year one, and you have a lot to see in front of you. But how has that group adapted so far in the meeting room, learning the new schemes? And, for that group overall, what are some things they need to do to kind of over the next couple of weeks to kind of go from where they've been to kind of fit more into your offense and your scheme?
Yeah, I think the communication thing is communication is the biggest thing for the five guys up front. Your center recognizing it, seeing it, getting all five guys to operate in sync, tying in your tight ends, whether that's in your run game or your protections as well. They got to be able to see, recognize, communicate extremely quickly for you to operate efficiently inside of the box. Our guys are training themselves to do that. They have great urgency. It's a group that's only going to continue to get better. Today's a tough day to see O-line and D-line play inside the box just because you're in helmet and nothing else, right? So you're going to find out more about your front seven, your offensive line here as you get into helmet and shoulder pads here a couple of days from now. But I like the group. They compete hard and they want to be good.
All right, thank you, Coach. That concludes this press conference. We'll have players tomorrow, approximately